Hello, guys. Chris here, and welcome to this short little clip from episode 26 of the Pocket Podcast with Kyle Hunt. I had to make this for all the people that have not yet listened to the full episode because this is where Kyle goes really deep about how he's been abandoned by his whole family and a little trip that he went to see his grandfather just moments before he passes away and how emotional this time was for him. I had to include this little bit. You guys enjoy. So you're just given up, you said, it's like your family just didn't care. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely, if my family cared a bit more, I probably wouldn't be the kind of person I am today. Or I might be. Who knows? Maybe I would have been better. But yeah, they definitely gave up on me, for sure.
Did you know that in the moment?
No, not really. So when I knew was about 2 years ago when my grandfather was passing away, and I've met him a few times, and I remember him playing a bit of a role when I was younger, and he looks after my brother. So my brother's always lived with him ever since we were young, before we went into foster care. And yeah, I flew to I forget what the place was, but it was rural New South Wales. It was out in the middle of the country. And yeah, I flew there. He was passing away. And when I walked in, I just started bawling my eyes out. Just because all my family was there except my mother and my sister. I think my mother had just left just before I arrived. And yeah, so I was crying, and then yeah, I was having a lot of conversation with him. He couldn't really talk properly, so he had this thing that he could write on. And yeah, we were chatting, and he was apologizing for leaving me, and then my auntie and stuff were coming in and apologizing for leaving me, and wished that they never had kind of let me go into foster care. And obviously they knew everything that was going on, but they had their own lives to live too. And yeah, that's when it really kicked in. I was like, fuck, everyone really just gave up on me, huh?
And what did your grandfather say and write down on the notes, and what did he say?
He just says that he wish he never gave up on me, and that he's so sorry for leaving me. And yeah, not long after that, a few hours after that, he passed away, which is pretty crazy.
Talk to me about that moment.
Yeah, it was very, very sad. Especially because I was actually 5 days late. So he was actually supposed to pass away 3 days before I showed up. So I was 5 days late because it was out in the middle of nowhere. I've got my businesses. So I was trying to get to there. So I had to fly to Sydney, and then I had to go from Sydney to this small town, and then go to this small town, then get a car and drive a couple of hours to the actual place. So yeah, ended up being 5 days late, and they were like, wow, he's still alive. And then yeah, when I showed up in there and we had that conversation and whatnot, it kind of felt like he was holding on just to release me of that pain and pressure that I always had. And being yeah, look, and kind of gave me a bit of how do you say it? What's the word when people agree with you and they give you that
Assurance, reassurance.
I guess so. Yeah, definitely gave me the reassurance that I was
a you were right thing, or
just made me feel like my feelings were valid. Yeah, he validated everything that I felt. And I never got that from any of my family, so I've never had my feelings validated. So that just gave me validation for, okay, it was okay to feel the way that you felt because you were left, you were gave up on, and that did happen. And that's something that I'd never received from my family. So yeah, it just kind of felt like he held out to literally his last breath just to release me from that freaking feeling, which was a lot. It was a lot.
What made you want to go see him in the first place, given that you kind of hadn't had that relationship with your family, and what made you want to go there?
I got no idea. I don't know. It's just something was like saying that I should go there, and he looked after my brother and raised my brother, so my brother didn't have to go through foster care. So, I should go thank him for that, which I did, and yeah, I didn't expect it to go the way that it did. Like, I didn't expect to feel like those kind of feelings. They're feelings I've never felt in my life. I'm not too sure if you've had like family or like people validate such painful feelings in your life that you've held on to for so long. Like that kind of feeling is unbelievable.
What is the feeling like?
It's like you can like breathe properly again. Like I feel like whenever I'm breathing, like it's like a shallow breath, like there's a weight. I don't know. And when that happened, like I just stood outside, like obviously I had a few tears rolling out, and I was like, fuck. And just taking in just big, deep breaths and just like feeling like, yeah, I know that I was alive. I don't know. It's hard to understand.
And so that was after he'd passed away, or he hadn't passed away just yet?
So he hadn't passed away just yet. So I only came into for around about 2 hours, and then I ended up leaving after that.
Yeah, wow. And so after all that happened, and obviously he passed away, you got back to Melbourne. How did you feel? Like, what was going on in your mind, and how did you feel in that moment when you got back to Melbourne?
Yeah, so I actually so I had to fly back to Sydney and then go back to Melbourne. So I actually extended my trip in Sydney for like an extra like 3 or 4 days, and I just kind of relaxed there. And yeah, I definitely felt a lot better for sure.
Wow. See, this is just one of those things where you can't make this up.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And I tie it back into this useful concept of like, people can listen to this and go, holy shit, my problems mean nothing. I reckon hard is only relative to what you've experienced in the past. And you go through things like that, everything else becomes easier. Because people that haven't gone through this shit or anything like it, or any shit at all, really, like getting a red light is annoying for them. Whereas like you go, mate, you didn't even understand what hard means.
Yeah, and I do see that. Like I do see a lot of people, like their pain is the same pain that I feel, but different scenarios for sure. It's like, you can take a candy from a baby and they'll feel the same pain as taking a parent from a baby. So like, yeah, I do understand that concept.
It's so relative to what you've experienced.
Yeah.
And that's why I just love like when like David Goggins talks about like callousing the mind, just like strengthening the mind, just like you're strengthening a bicep. It's like the more times you're going through shit, the easier the shit becomes. And I think it makes life easier. Like you want to make life easier, go through more shit.
Yeah.
Because then it takes more for you to go through shit.
Yeah.
Because your shit is, the shit level's up so high. We're going to have to stop this clip just there. Hopefully you did enjoy that. Wow. How deep is Kyle's story? It is heartwarming to say the least. But if you enjoyed this little clip, then the full episode is now live. It is episode 26 of the Pocket Podcast with Kyle Hunt. Go check out the full episode for yourself. But if you've enjoyed this clip, please be sure to leave us a review here on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. I can't thank you all enough. It helps the show grow, helps us get amazing guests just like Kyle back on the show. So go check out the full episode, or I'll speak to you guys very soon.